Hello, welcome or welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, I'm Sam, and in today's video we are talking oil painting supplies. So if you want to start oil painting but you have no clue what supplies you need, don't worry, I got you back. That's what we're talking about in today's video. Here's a quick beginner guide on everything you need oil painting. When I first started oil painting, I had absolutely no clue what I needed. I heard about 50 shades of white or fancy brushes, and I had no clue what medium or solvents were, and I was overwhelmed. But don't worry, I figured it out. You're now going to from this video. So let's break it down. Number one is the surface that you're painting on. A canvas is a classic choice. However, if you are just practicing oil painting, you can just use a primed piece of paper or a primed bit of wood. For your sketchbook, you can literally prime a page in your sketchbook. That's what I have been liking to do recently. And if you want to do that, just need to prime it, let that dry, and then start painting. So now you're asking, what primer do you use? Well, this is the primer that I use. Let me see if I can get it to focus. This is gesso primer in white, and it dries super quickly, and so I can start painting pretty quickly after this is dried, and it's just a great thing to use. And slap this on anything and you can oil paint on it. Pretty much. Don't quote me on that though. Okay, number two, the essential, which is oil paint. What oil paint do you need without breaking the bank? Oil paint is expensive and you don't need all the colors. I really recommend that you just go for a simple beginner palette, which is 5 colors. That is white, black, red, yellow, and blue. I use Winsor Newton as it is a trusted brand and I really do love them. I've had these for years. Wait, let me see if I can. But there are different types of blues and reds and everything, so let me just quickly go over the ones that I specifically have. So for blue, I have cobalt blue, cadmium red, I have lemon yellow, titanium white, and for my black, I have ivory black. Okay, these are literally all the oil paints that you need to have a palette that works for you. You can mix beautiful colors with this palette without breaking the bank of having multiple paints. You don't need all those different colors. If you want them though, you totally can get them, and they do have them in smaller sizes. For example, I recently bought yellow ochre in this really small size and it wasn't actually too expensive. So it's up to you at the end of the day, but I really recommend just getting a limited palette. It also really helps you to understand colors better and be able to mix different colors too. Next is paintbrushes. Honestly, paintbrushes, you can really use anything. I use this type of stuff, but honestly anything works. Just don't go for those cheap paintbrushes that are so plasticky and the hairs just fall off instantly, because the most annoying thing is you're oil painting and then the hairs from the brushes get stuck in the paint and then you're just there like picking them out. Not great. A good indicator that you're about to purchase some cheap brushes is if they're paired with a sponge brush. Top tip. Definitely just any brush really, go ham. You only need like 6 or 7 in different sizes depending on the canvas that you're painting on and the size that you're painting, but overall you can't really go wrong. Next we have palettes. There's different types of palettes that you can obviously buy. There's the wood palette, but that sometimes stains. You can get glass palettes, that's what I personally use, or you can use a palette pad where you, once you're done with that palette, you can rip it out of the pad and then it's just, you've got multiple palettes in one pad. I don't personally use them. I use the glass palette. More specifically, I use a photo frame. It's cheap, it's cheerful, and it works. This is literally £1 from the charity shop, and once the paint has dried you can literally scrape it off. I have a grey piece of paper inside the photo frame so I can see all the colours that I'm working with, and this is so cheap and it's really great, and I really recommend a photo frame as your palette. Now on to probably the most intimidating thing. I know this was definitely the most intimidating thing for me, and that is mediums and solvents. Trust me, it's not as bad as it sounds. I'll explain it completely now. Medium is what will water down your paint. Oil paint is really thick, so you need something that will water it down so you can manipulate it onto the canvas however you like. For beginners, and what I use as well, and I've been using this for years, is linseed oil. There's different types of linseed oil out here. For example, this one is cold pressed. I don't know what that means, but linseed oil works for me. When you go to the art shop and you see the linseed oil section, you'll see that all the different types that I'm talking about, you can literally read on the little labels what each one of them does and means. Like sometimes it's thinner, sometimes it dries quicker, like whatever it is. But medium is what will water down your paints so you can use the paints better and make them thinner, and I use linseed oil. Solvent, on the other hand, is what will clean your brush. So I use white spirit. White spirit stinks, definitely keep the lid on it, and when you clean your brushes, don't put the white spirit down the sink. You shouldn't do that. I can't remember why. Pretty much look at the warnings on this bad boy. Definitely don't put it down the sink, don't put it anywhere near people, keep it in a safe space and keep the lid on it. But this is great at cleaning your brushes. and that is all you need to use this for. So you got medium, which is linseed oil. For me anyways, that's what I use, and that is what waters down your paint. And then you have solvent, and that is white spirit, and that will clean your brushes. So those are your basics. Let's just quickly go over what those were again. So you have any paintbrush really, as long as it's not a cheap one. When you want to paint on a surface, prime it with gesso. Your palette can be anything, but I recommend a cheap photo frame with the glass. Oil paint is expensive, so I recommend just getting that beginner simple palette. And medium and solvents. Medium is what waters down your paint, and solvent is what cleans your brushes. Before we end this video, let's just quickly go over some extra tools that you can use if you want to. Number one is a rag. This is my rag. She's really gorgeous, don't judge her. She's very dirty, but I use this rag in between colors, so you don't need to use white spirit every time you want to clean your brush. You can just quickly use a rag when you're going between like blue and red, for example, and you don't want the blue to get in your red. Another thing that you can use whilst oil painting is a palette knife. Palette knives can be used to mix colors beforehand or to actually apply paint to the canvas. I don't actually use these at all. However, lots of artists have a lot of success with them. If this is something that you want to try, I definitely recommend that you do. Finally, you should just consider a safe place to store your paintings whilst they dry. Oil paints take days, if not weeks, to dry. Even when they look dry, they're actually still wet underneath. So definitely keeping them in a place where they can dry safely is really important, because you don't want to get dust and hair and everything on your painting whilst it's drying and then it being stuck in there forever, just being a part of your masterpiece forevermore. Maybe a cupboard or a room that's locked away from your cat. I don't know, but definitely just pick somewhere that your paintings can dry in peace. And that's it. Now you know exactly what you need to start oil painting. Everything that I've just said is exactly what I use when I'm oil painting, and I don't use anything else. If you found this helpful, please click that like button, and if you want more art content, please subscribe to my channel. Happy painting! See you next time. Bye!